Welcome to the second edition of Nick's Intermix, where we look at the different interactions between the cards of Star Trek Attack Wing to see which ones fizzle, which ones sizzle, which ones are stable, and which ones are volatile. In the chamber this week, we have a Romulan weapon that has seen a fair bit of use, and an underused elite talent. Now let's inject these two into the core and see what happens. This is Nick's Intermix. There's a lot of players out there that love the Romulan faction, but still don't feel that they're a fully, truly competitive faction. Well, I've got some news for you. I'm dredging up the old all-forward Disruptor Banks and Disruptor Pulse combo, which many of you may not even know of, and adding a little bit extra spice to it so we can get that much more out of your Romulans. So let's begin with explaining how the initial combo works. Your Disruptor Pulse is a range 1 to 2, attack 3 secondary weapon that comes from the Hakona. It states, attack. Disable this card to perform this attack. During the declare target step, target every enemy ship that is in your forward firing arc and within range, that's 1 to 2, and perform a separate attack against each of the target ships with this attack. Not bad for a 5-point secondary weapon. Add on the elite talent, all forward Disruptor Banks from the Valdor. It's a 4-point elite talent, and it says, action. Disable this card to add 1 attack die to any attack in your forward firing arc this round. Now, this one you can actually add to each of those attacks. So that means you've bumped it from 3 up to 4 dice against each target. Want more? Well, we can throw the obligatory Dinatra on a friendly ship. Throw Mendak on with her so you can get battle stations to go on to this. And what shall we do for captain? Well, there's a few options. The simplest of which would be Salatrell. Gives you the elite talent slot, 3 points, 5 captain skill, and it allows you to shoot with a captain skill of 10 whenever you have a ship of the chosen faction in your forward arc. So you don't have to have all 3 of those be the same faction. Only one of them has to be the selected faction for you to have the skill of 10 for the entire round. While she's handy in this situation, she's certainly not the best choice. Well, let's step up to Toreth. She's a 4-point captain with 7 skill and an elite talent. Her ability says when attacking, you may convert 1 hit result into 1 crit result. Now, you may be thinking, because of the may, you only get to do this once. But with the prefix of when attacking, you get to do that each time. So for each of those target ships you're performing a separate attack, you get to convert 1 hit into a crit for each one. If you're not happy with that, we can try going it 1 step further. With the 5 captain skill Valdor, who costs 3, and what he says is when attacking, if your ship is not in the target ship's forward firing arc, add an attack die. So that says target ship, which means if you're targeting multiple ships, you get to use that ability each time. So that can bump your Disruptor Pulse up to 6 attack dice against each target. Assuming, of course, that you indeed are not in the target ship's forward firing arc. Now, if you're shooting against a Borg ship with a 360, it does not have a forward firing arc, so it doesn't matter which way they're facing, you get that bonus. Now, I remember when I said that one of your friendly ships would have Dinatra and Mendak on it. Well, if you also have the ability to play flagships in your venue where they're not retired, we have 2 amazing options here. One of which is the independent side of the Klingon flagship, and it states, all other friendly ships within range 1 of your flagship gain 1 attack die when attacking at range 2 to 3. So that means with Disruptor Pulse, you have to be within range 2 to get both benefits. So you would now be firing 7 dice at every ship at range 2. The second flagship option is the Romulan flagship itself, and it states, when attacking, all other friendly Romulan ships within range 1 to 2 of your flagship, so this guy we're hoping, would choose any number of their attack dice and re-roll them once. So you get a free target lock effect. Isn't that something? So at this point, with this flagship on it, you're rolling 6 dice against each ship, and you can re-roll them for each attack. Even though it says may on the flagship card, it is prefaced with when attacking. So each time you are attacking a new target, you get to benefit from this 1 time. Now, as recording this, I actually came up with another resource idea. If you throw on the Romulan pilot, after you move, you may discard this card to place a scan token beside your ship as a free action. If you do so, you may immediately make an additional green maneuver. Now, that scan token will come in really handy if you decide to go for the officer cards and choose the science officer. One of the abilities on it, it adds a tech upgrade slot to your upgrade bar, which is always valuable for Romulans. But its next ability is each time you attack, if there is a scan token beside your ship, the defender rolls -2 defense dice instead of -1. And, based on the rules in the rule book, only upgrades are limited to trigger off of tokens once per round. This is not an upgrade, so therefore it doesn't count. So you may use that benefit of that scan token for each attack. So each attack against a target ship, that target ship rolls -2 defense against your attack of now 6 or possibly 7 attack dice. And given that you're not limited to just one officer card, you can choose up to the total of the 4 of them. Say you've only got 1 crew, so you're limited to 2, so let's choose the operations officer. It also adds a crew slot. So you could add another crew and add on the first officer and tactical officer cards. But before we get too ahead of ourselves here, the ability on the operations officer says during the modify attack dice step of the combat phase, you may choose one of your attack dice and re-roll that die twice. So for each one of those attacks, because it's a new modify attack dice step each time, you can re-roll 1 die twice for each of those separate attacks that you're getting from that Disruptor pulse. So further meat to your firing. Now, that Romulan pilot was a discard and placed a scan token beside your ship as a free action. So, if we go with a first officer, you can also get a second scan token on your ship at the cost of an auxiliary power token, and that will allow you to then reduce your defense of the target by 3 instead of 2. Now, you don't get to double up and go -4. The science officer only checks to see if a scan token is there, reducing from 1 to 2, but that second scan token will add an additional -1 for a total of -3 defense dice to each of your targets. Now you might be wondering, why not throw the 4th tactical officer card on there? It does add a weapon slot and allows you to add extra attack die or defense die by spending a battle station token. While that is an option, it does cost you another 3 points, and it will in effect cost you your battle station token before you get to convert, so you'll lose the ability to modify your dice for quality. So it's probably best that you leave the tactical officer card out unless you're desperate for that 1 extra weapon slot, which, in most cases with the Romulan ships, you're not too hard up. This has been another edition of Nick's Intermix, bringing cards together since tomorrow.